Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Nicholas Earl. Welcome back to another episode of Real Sports Bets. And today we are doing another UFC video for UFC Fight Night, Mohammed and Edwards. And this should be a fun card. I mean, it's not the greatest of competition, but there's still plenty of spots to make some money. But before we get into the video, you guys know what to do. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And turn on this post notification so you guys are notified each and every time we come out with a video here at Earl Sports Bets. You can also follow us on our social medias at BetsEarl on Twitter, at Earl Sports Bets on Instagram. And we have a Discord chat if you want to join that. The link to that is in the description of the video down below. And if you also look in the description, but down below, we have merch here for ESB. So if you guys want to get some merch, you guys can click that link in the description down below. We have shirts, sweatshirts, masks, stickers. So if you guys want to check that out and support the channel a little bit more, you guys can look at the link down below for that. But today's going to be a fun video because we are joined here by Cody, aka DFS Prodigy. What do you think of this card coming up here?
So it's an interesting card by far. Thanks for having me on the channel.
Absolutely.
Definitely excited to talk some UFC with you. Yeah, like I said, this is an interesting card. It's just a mag card, but the first fight of the night is definitely what I'm loving. So I'm ready to dig in with you if you are.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start from the top here and work our way down. We're going to be starting with actually now the main events. Leon Edwards and Belal Mohammed. You can get Leon Edwards for minus 250. Belal Mohammed's a plus 210. The over-under is 4.5 rounds, minus 210 to the over, plus 170 to the under. Your thoughts for this one?
So for me, that's already an interesting price point with the over under 4.5. So for me, I think this is going to go to the judges. Basically, I don't see a finish happening between either guy. Both guys aren't good at finishing fights. So for me, it's more I like the over of 4.5. I think that's definitely where I would kind of look at. Leon Edwards, we don't know what we're going to get out of him because it's been so long because nobody wants to fight him. Belal Mohammed, we see him fight basically lower resume sort of fighters. So it's a hard fight to judge, like we were talking about with DraftKings. It could go either way. Both guys are just not this. The output of both guys isn't really going to be there. So for me, I like the over 4.5. If you want to take a flyer on Leon Edwards at negative 250, I could see you definitely getting to him because of who he's fought compared to Belal Mohammed. But I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are, my man.
Yeah, looking at this one for me, I definitely think this is going to decision. Looking at the price tag for this, minus 250 is an awful lot to pay for Leon Edwards, even though I definitely think he wins the fight. What I'll probably be looking to bet for this one is probably Leon Edwards by decision. You can get that for plus 115 at my book. I think that's a totally reasonable price. Maybe if you want to get a little excited here, we can go for, or not excited, but a little crazy. You can go sprinkle around 3, 4, and 5, maybe knockout for Leon Edwards. Belal Mohammed is very durable, but maybe a 4th or 5th round finish at 18 or 22 to 1, maybe worth a 1/10 of a unit sprinkle or something along those lines. Nothing crazy, obviously. My play for this one is Leon Edwards minus 250, more the decision prop plus 115. That's really the only place I can really look at this fight because I definitely think this goes to decision. Belal Mohammed could be an interesting dog play, but I'm going with the favorite here, Leon Edwards.
Agreed.
Our next fight here, we have Darren Stewart taking on Eric Anders. Darren Stewart is a minus 180 favorite, plus 155 run back for Anders. Over under of 2.5 rounds. The over is juiced to the minus 225. The under is plus 185. Your thoughts?
So for me, this is more of a guy who I love in Darren Stewart. I like him much more than Eric Anders. I think Anders is way too inconsistent for me, and we don't know what we're going to get out of him. Darren Stewart, like I said, the leg hits are going to be there. The grappling's going to be there. He's going to try to go for the takedown. So if he can get that submission off, I can definitely see this happening in the first, second round. So if you want to get kind of risky, I would be definitely viable in getting that under at plus 185 for underdog money. But for me, I'm taking the favorite in Darren Stewart. I like him much more in this fight. I think that's a decent price tag. That's where I'm kind of looking at in this fight. What about you, man?
Yeah, looking at this fight, I definitely think this probably goes to decision. These are two very low volume guys, so I think this could be a low volume decision win for Darren Stewart. I like Stewart for this fight by decision, but these two, looking at their finishing stats, It's only 67 and 69% finishing rates. So I mean, if you go by those statistics, that plus 185 doesn't look terrible. But I mean, but these guys don't get finished. Only 20% of Anders' fights have that his losses have ended by a knockout. 1 out of 5, and then 2 out of 6 fights for Darren Stewart's have ended in decision or in submission. So these guys really don't get finished that often, and their finishing rate's not the highest. I like Darren Stewart. I like him by decision. You can get that prop bet for, let's see here, Darren Stewart by points plus 130. So I don't mind taking that minus 180 and turning it into a plus 130 for that fight. My pick for is Darren Stewart for this fight, and I like the decision prop as well. Our next one is Ryan Spann taking on Misha Cirkunov. I believe that's how it's pronounced. This is the co-main event of the evening. You can get Misha here for minus 120. You can get Ryan Spann for plus 100. Your thoughts on this co-main event? Oh, also,
So for me,
it's 1.5 the total. Over is plus 120. Under is minus 150. Yeah. I forgot to mention that one. But yeah.
So for me, the over is really interesting at plus 120. That's definitely interesting how they have it at 1.5. But the thing is, I can see it because of the gas tanks are both awful for both of these guys. So if you think somehow they can pull off the gas tank and you want plus money, to go for the plus at 1.5. I can definitely see that happening. If you think they can pull off the gas tank, for me, I like Cirkunov at negative 120. I definitely like him way more over than Ryan Spann. I think this is his fight. Ryan Spann's fight to lose. I don't see how Spann wins this fight. I definitely like Misha. I think the over is definitely interesting. Like I was saying, if you think both their guys things can hold that long, I'll take the over 1.5. So what do you think, man?
For this one, I'm looking actually at Ryan Spann a little bit here. You get even money for him, so I don't mind that price tag. I do think Misha can get the submission in this one. But I'm probably not going to bet either side for this. I'm simply going to go the under 1.5. And my reason behind that is Misha, I don't think he knows what a second round is. I don't think he knows that UFC you can go to a second round. His last 6 fights have ended in the first. So I think this is 100% a one-round fight. So I like the under in this more than any of the sides for this fight. I just want violence.
Exactly. Which, like I said, if the gas tanks hold up, I could see the over, but the under is definitely viable for sure.
Absolutely. The next fight here we have Davey Grant taking on Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez, you can get him for minus 285, plus 245 for Davey Grant. Over under 2.5 rounds for this one, minus 180 to the over, plus 150 to the under. Your thoughts?
I hate this fight, to say the least. Like we talk about it in DraftKings, I hate this fight. I don't like both these guys. David Grant somehow pulled the knockout fight or the knockout hit on Martin Dave, which that's surprising, even though you had him. I know you did. Yep. So it was still surprising, to say the least, how he got it. Both guys not really on my radar. I don't want a lot of pieces of this fight. This is kind of a fight where I'm just looking at and crossing off from everybody's perspective. What about you?
Yeah, the only way I can really approach this fight is Martinez as a parlay piece for me. The minus 285 makes him very unplayable straight up. So I think this is someone, maybe you parlay Martinez with Leon Edwards. Maybe you can do that with a Nasrat. Like you can do someone like that. Maybe a Charles Jourdain. But like this is just a parlay piece for me. I'm not betting this straight up. I'm not looking at the total because I could think this goes to decision. Minus 180. I think that's a little bit better of a price, a little bit better of a play maybe than the Martinez minus 285. But I like Martinez to win this probably by decision.
Yep.
Next, we get our first fight of the night, and this one's going to be a fun one. For the first fight of the night, I really like this one. We get Jason Witt versus Matthew Simonsberger. Minus 123 for Simonsberger, plus 103 for Witt. The over-under is 2.5 rounds, both at minus 115. Your thoughts?
So for me, I love this fight. This is the first fight of the night. I'm definitely looking at this fight overall. I love me some Jason Witt at plus money. I definitely like that. I think he's the underdog in this, and I don't see why, though. I think this is more of a pick-em, even though it's moving closer to a pick-em. He's a takedown machine. He can get the takedowns. He can get the grappling side. I'm all in on him. I think the knockout punch will be there for Matthew if he can get it. If he doesn't, though, it's going to be all of Jason Witt. The over under, I'm not really looking at. I kind of want just the money line of Jason Witt. Well, what about you, man?
I'm actually on the opposite here. I'm not really looking at the side here. I like Matthew Simonsberger a little bit more than Witt. He just looked really good at weigh-ins today. The only thing is his takedown defense is a little weak. But for me, I'm not looking at trying to pick a winner for this fight because this is a really good split even money fight. I'm actually looking at the total here, and I'm going with the under 2.5. And the reason why I'm looking at this is usually I don't play totals. I'm trying to look at that a little bit more than trying to pick sides because I can get better reads on whether or not fights go to decision or not than trying to pick winners for some reason. And I think that this is definitely an under fight. And when I look to bet unders, I look for two people who can do the dance together and finish each other. This fight has finish written all over it. Both these guys, all their losses are by finish. Witt's only got a 65% finish rate, 71% for Matthew Simonsberger, but I definitely think this goes under. I think it's either going to be a submission for Jason Witt or a knockout for Matthew Simonsberger. I'm going with the under here. If I had to pick a fighter, I'm going with Matthew Simonsberger, but I'm going the under 2.5 for this fight. All right, our next one here, we got Jinyu Frey taking on Gloria de Paula, minus 190 for de Paula, plus 165 for Frey. Over, under 2.5. I don't really want to get into it because it's a minus 400 to the over. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm kind of staying away from the over under on this one. It's just juiced odds. I'm not really on it. Jinyu Frey, it's the Vita champ. We've seen her, the knockout power with the left hand and the right hand. Based off of Instagram, we saw that not too long ago. The power's there. If you think she can knock out, that's her only path to victory. I think this is more Gloria de Paula's fight to win. I definitely like her at negative 190 compared to Jinyu Frey. So that's where I'm kind of looking at. So for me, it's just a de Paula money line. If you want to get frisky with the knockout of Jinyu Frey, you could look at that. So that's where I'm kind of feeling on this fight. What about you, man?
Yeah, I like DePaulo as well, or I like DePaulo for this fight. Minus 190 is probably a little bit too juiced for me. I do like DePaulo here by decision. You can get for a plus 105, which you can get a minus 190 down to a plus 105 with a minus 400 over 2.5. I absolutely love that price. I think that's way out of proportion. I think she can get the win by decision. Simply saying, because that minus 400 saying it's going to over 2.5. Jinyu Frey is not going to win a decision here. She's way too low volumed. I think she's gotten under 35 significant strikes in both her UFC appearances. She's not going to win a decision. She's way too low volume. I like DePaulo here for this fight. I like DePaulo by decision's probably the one I'm going to bet. Other than that, it's going to be just that the DePaulo by decision prop bet. All right, the next one should be another fun fight. We get Ray Rodriguez taking on Ronnie Yaya. Minus 300 favorite Yaya is. 250 for Rodriguez. Over under 1.5 rounds. The over is minus 155. The under is plus 125. Take it away, Cody.
So for me, this is Ronnie Yaya's fight to win. I love the submission. If you want to get to him as a first round submission, I think you can definitely be viable for that. He's a hell of a grappler. He's going to out-grapple Ray Rodriguez any day of the week. I like the under on this at plus money if you think he can get that sub taken off. For me, like I said, this is all about the submission and for basically the first-round submission for him. Plus 225 is great money for me. If you want to parlay him at negative 300 on the money line, you're certainly viable to do that. Like I said, this is all about the grappling for me, and that's what I'm mainly looking at. What about you, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking Ronnie Yaya's way as well. I think I have written down on my paper before we even zoomed or anything here. Ronnie Yaya by sub in parentheses round 1 plus 225. I like that prop bet. I think he can go down. He doesn't have the greatest of wrestling, but he can easily pull guard and then scramble, take Rodriguez's back and choke him out or whatever he needs to do. He has 20 submissions in his career by 12 different methods. So this guy knows how to get a submission when he needs one, and he can pull out all the tricks in the book. He's able to do it. I like the under 1.5 as well. You're getting plus money for that for a round 1 finish because I think Ray Rodriguez is live for a submission as well. He does have 8 submission wins on his record as well. 50% of his wins have come by submission. So both these submissions are very live for this fight. The under, I think, is very live for this fight. I like Ronnie Yaya by submission. I think you can get for around a plus 100 and something, and then the plus 225 for specifically in that first round. You can get by submission Ronnie Yaya minus 105. Okay, I don't know if I'd bet that one. Usually when I want to bet a prop like that, I want plus money. But Ronnie Yaya, probably by first round submission. I'll probably lay a little bit on that minus 105 by submission. The under 120, the under 1.5 also has my attention as well. So definitely looking at that. Our next fight here, we have Gavin Tucker versus Dan 50K Ige. Minus 158 for Ige, plus 138 for Gavin Tucker. Your thoughts on this fight?
So for me, this is all about durability. Both guys have a hell of a chin, but Gavin Tucker and Dan Ige are known for the wrestling. So for me, I think this is going to be an all-out grapple match on the mat, which I think it's going to go up to the judges. I'd like this by decision. I think both guys are, like I said, great on the mat. Both are grapplers. There's not much striking to this. Both have great gas tanks mentality-wise. Gavin Tucker has stepped up to the plate. If you want to take a flyer at plus money for Gavin Tucker, I wouldn't mind that at plus 138. But like I said, I think this is going to go to the judges, and I like that for sure. So what about you, my man?
Yeah, I'm all over the decision as well here. As you can tell, the odds are juiced minus 260 by decision. Generally, with those fights, when they're minus 200 plus, when it has the over 2.5, generally I'll look to bet decision props with fighters. Gavin Tucker, I really like in this fight. I think he gets the win by decision here. The plus 138, I don't blame you. If you want to get a little bit more greedy, you can get plus 190 for Gavin Tucker by decision. That's probably a prop I'll look to bet tomorrow. I like the plus 190 there. You're getting a little bit of extra juice for something that I think happens more often than not. So I like Gavin Tucker here. I like him as a dog. I like him the plus 190 by decision. I think he gets the win versus Dan Ige. All right. Our next fight here is Courtney Casey taking on JJ Aldridge. Another women's fight here. What's your thoughts on this one?
So both fighters are definitely looking for the striking output. This is not really a wrestling match. For me, that over is definitely juiced at negative 450. That's crazy in my opinion. I'm not getting to that at all. I mean, that's just hard to get to. I think this is going to come up to the judges once again because both girls are definitely strikers, not really much of grapplers. So for me, it's just going to who's going to outstrike one another. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Aldridge. I like that money line negative 154. But for me, I'm staying away from basically any of the prop bets in this fight, especially the over-under because of the juice odds. What about you, man?
I'm on the Courtney Casey side for this one. I like her as a dog. Plus 135 is not a bad price. I think she'll be able to pressure up Aldridge, out-volume her. I think, seeing that this is going to decision, I think, and this is going to be a striking affair, we're looking at volume. And definitely Courtney Casey is going to come out. She's going to throw a lot. I like her a little bit in DFS as well. I think she's 7,700. So she's going to get you that striking upside for volume there. I like her to get a volume decision, basically. You can get her for plus 134, or you can look to increase that price by taking her by by points or decision plus 200. I don't mind that at all. If you want to get even, want to look even more, submission I think is maybe pretty live for her here. 4 of 9 of her victories have ended in submission. 8-1 for that. 9-1 for knockout. I can see a knockout as well. She does have 3 knockouts on her record. I think this goes to decision though. So I like Courtney Casey by decision plus 200. Also the plus 135 works as well. All right, next we have Charles Jourdain taking on Marcelo Rojo. Minus 255 for Jourdain, plus 215 for Rojo. The over-under is 2.5. Slightly juiced to the under, minus 125 to the under, minus 105 to the over. Your thoughts on this one?
So for me, the odds are definitely interesting on this fight. I know from a DFS perspective, Rojo is definitely the underpriced guy and basically the 6K kind of range. So this is an interesting fight. Like I said, I can see Jourdain winning this at negative 255. That's a little heavy for me though, because I can see Rojo come out there heavily aggressive and wanting to win this fight to prove why he belongs in the UFC, to say the least. Jourdain though is a heavily touted prospect who this is kind of a gimme fight for him in the UFC. Dana White's like basically saying, here, this is your layup. You need to win this to move on. Plain and simple. So For me, I like Jordan. I think the odds are definitely kind of scary though, but at negative 255, I can see why you want him. What about you, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at this Jordan side as well. Minus 255 is a little bit rich though. Jordan, I like him potentially by knockout plus 175, so it's not really a price I want to get out here. Do I want to parlay him? Absolutely not. I think like he's one of those guys where you're like, oh, I hit 6 out of the 7 legs of my parlay, and freaking Charles Jordan ruined my parlay at minus 255. I can totally see that. I like Jordan here. I don't know if I'm going to get around to betting him. Maybe the knockout prop, but overall, maybe the under. Both these guys have really good finishing power. Jordan, 100% of his wins have ended in a finish. 94% of Rojo's fights have ended in a finish. So the under 2.5 kind of calls my name a little bit more than a side here. So if I would have to give an official bet for this one, it's the under 2.5. But I like Jordan as well. All right, next here we have Angela Hill taking on Ashley Yoder. This fight was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago, and the only thing that's really changed is nothing. So minus 375 for Hill, plus 310 for Yoder, over under 2.5. This is another one, big juice, minus 400 to the over, plus 300 to the under. Your thoughts on this one?
This is a fight where I'm just kind of scratching my head because I don't really want a lot of it. The Ashley Yoder side, definitely a heavily underdog. If you want to feel frisky, go for Ashley Yoder. But I think this is Angela's fight to win. I think the striking upside of her is definitely there. Over under is definitely kind of scary. Negative 400 from a betting perspective. I'm not really high on this fight. What about you, man?
Yeah, this is a fight where I don't know how much exposure I'm going to get to it. If I were to bet this one, the only way I can really go is dog or pass for this one. I think Ashley Yoder can potentially get some takedowns on Angela Hill. She has improved her takedown defense, Hill, but I feel like Yoder might try to use her wrestling, try to get some ground control. The only problem is Angela Hill's really good at getting right back up if she gets taken down. For this one, it's going to be, obviously, it's the over, minus 400. I'm going to lean towards Ashley Yoder just because of that plus 310 price tag. You can get her for plus 425 by decision. I think that's the only way she really wins this fight. It's just one of those clinch ground control type of fights. I'm going to go probably take a small risk at this plus 310 price tag. I've bet on worse before, so I mean I took Megan Anderson last week, so it could be worse. But I like if I would have to bet this fight, it's gonna be Yoder, or it's gonna be a pass. It's a dog or pass for me. All right, we have 2 more fights left in this card. We have Manel Cape taking on Matthias Nukulu. Your thoughts on this one?
So for me, I'm taking the underdog in this fight. I like Nikolai. I think Kape just looked bad when basically from a perspective of the UFC definitely wanted him. He came from Japan, a heavily touted prospect. We thought we were going to get more out of him, but what we got was basically a startled fighter who just didn't want to give up his hands and who just kind of was standing there patiently, not wanting to do much. Yeah, I didn't like him in the ring. He didn't look very good. I want Nikolai to basically come out here heavily aggressive. I think he's going to outstrike and outbattle Kape in this fight. I like the underdog money in this fight, and I wouldn't mind taking a shot on the over in this fight at 2.5. I think if Nikolai can get in there aggressive, I think he can definitely take this fight to the 3rd round and make it a judge's fight, and that's where I'm basically looking at this fight. So, what about you, man?
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at Nikolai as well for this fight. I think he was a little bit bigger of a dog earlier in the week, so I think we've missed the line a little bit here at plus 101. I still think it's a decent price. I think he should be about a pick 'em, so that's about where he should be. The only thing that worries me is I think Manel Cape could get a knockout in this one. He does have a 93% finish rate, and both of Nikolai's losses have been by knockout, but 100% he's a live dog. For me, it's a dog or pass here. I would probably lean a little bit more towards the under. Both these guys have okay finishing rates, and Nikolai has been finished in both his losses. 93% finish rate for Miguel Cape. The one thing that really worries me, if you want to back Cape, is what happened last time. He was thrown to Alexander Pantoja, and he just didn't let his hands go. He had that very low volume. He didn't look good. He does have that power, but that's about all he's got, I think. So I'm going with Nikolai by maybe decision. I can see potentially submission, but I'm going to go with the dog, probably just straight up plus 101 for this fight. All right, the last fight we're going to be going over for this one, we have Nasrat Hakparist. I totally botched that.
Something like that.
versus Rafa Garcia. Minus 475 for Nasrat. Garcia you can get for plus 375. Your thoughts on this one?
So again, kind of a head scratcher. Definitely juiced odds for Nasrat. So for me, this is kind of just a no bet fight. Garcia making his debut. We know he has a good finish rate though at 94%. Like you were saying, the finish rate is definitely there. But at plus 375, that's definitely a heavy underdog. For me, this is just kind of a pass. There's not much I want in this fight. Nasrat's definitely a balanced guy who he's fought okay fighters. And this is kind of right in the middle of his competition. So for me, it's kind of a pass. What about you, man?
Yeah, absolutely. This one, Nasrat may be a parlay piece, but at minus 475, that ship has sailed. I think he opened at minus 350, and it's just been nothing but Nasrat money for this one. Rightfully so. I think he's the better overall fighter. I can see him getting a knockout. Unfortunately, this is a late line, so we don't have any totals for this one. I don't have any prop bets. I can't give you by knockout or whatever it is. But keep in mind, both these fighters have come in on short notice. This was supposed to be a totally different fight, and both these guys stepped in and replaced other fighters. So this is definitely a late replacement for both these guys. But for Nasrat, he's got the grappling advantage. He's going to throw more volume. I think he's just the better overall fighter. He's going to get the win. I'm not betting it, though. Minus 475. That's way out of range. Plus, I don't think you can even parlay him on my site here. So, minus 475. I guess he's my pick for this fight, but I'm not betting that. All right. Quick little recap for our plays for this one. You want to go over your picks fight by fight here? Just quick little recap.
Yeah, man. So basically, my kind of core picks is what I would basically kind of want to do. So the core picks of mine would definitely be the under, like you have with Jason Witt fight. I think, like you said, both fights are going to be finished. I like Ronnie Yaya. Negative 300 is definitely what I'm looking at. I like Gavin Tucker as a flyer at plus 135. I like Charles Jourdain as a piece of the money line. And last but not least, I like Nikolai at plus money as underdog too. Who are your core picks, my man?
Well, just a recap of my picks here. I'm going to go with Leon Edwards. We're going with Darren Stewart. We're going with the under in the Ryan Spann fight. I'm going Jonathan Martinez versus Davey Grant. We're going to go with the under 2.5 for Jason Witt and Seisensberger. We're going to go with Paula, probably by decision. We're going to go with Yaya by submission. We're going to go with Gavin Tucker on another dog pick. We're going to go with Courtney Casey, another dog pick. We're going with the under 2.5 for the Jourdain fight. We're going with Ashley Yoder, another dog pick. Nikolai, and then Nasrat for those picks. All right. Oh, wrong one. There we go. I have a special ending screen for when I have guests on. So, there we go. That's going to just about do it for this video. Anything you want to say before we head on out for this?
Definitely. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a joy kind of talking to you about UFC, and I can't wait to get on the show again, my man.
Absolutely. But that's going to just about do it for this video, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, turn on those post notifications so you guys know whenever we come out with the video here at All Sports Bets. But that's going to just about do it for this video. Let's make some money. Let's cash some bets in the UFC tomorrow night, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.